Hello everyone, a very good evening to all of you. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to the MCQ series on RBI annual report. So this will be the part 1 of the series. I hope I am audible. I hope I am visible. Can anyone just quickly confirm before I start the session? So we'll be discussing close to 100 MCQs in this particular series. Okay, I'll try to cover up 50 in this particular video and 50 in the next coming video. Okay, and this will be very helpful for your examination perspective as well, right? RBI annual report is one of the most important report for your examination. You can definitely get some of the direct questions as well in your examination. Okay, so not to fear about anything regarding the RBI report. It's majority of the report is nothing but the compilation of whatever happened in RBI in the past 1 year, right? In the entire financial year. So not to worry about that thing कि सर RBI annual report कैसे पढ़नी है, 300 पेज की है, 300 पेज से भी ज़्यादा की है. देखो पहली बात तो स्टार्टिंग के और लास्ट के जो irrelevant पेजेस है उनको हटाओगे तो वो close to 275 पेजेस की कुछ हो जाएगी, right? It's not at all a big number, plus we have covered it in summary as well. We'll be covering it in the MCQ series as well. Plus I will advise you to read that report, okay? At least 10 to 15 pages a day. Try to cover from the report so that it will strengthen your descriptive practice as well, okay? There are a lot of sentences in those reports, in that report, that can be used in your descriptive question as well, right? Descriptive answers as well. So I personally advise you to read it at least 10 to 15 pages a day. धीरे धीरे पढ़ो, एक साथ पढ़ोगे 200-300 पेज तो टफ लगेगी. हर दिन 10 पेज पढ़ोगे तो इजी लगेगी. ओके, चलो let's start the session. If you are preparing for RBI Grade B examination, you can join our course. You can start your journey with us as well. You can download the Olio Board application और वहाँ पे आपको इसका PDF मिल जाएगा. And you can download the previous year questions as well. Plus tomorrow we'll be discussing about the 2022 PYQ. We have already discussed the 2024 and 2023 PYQ. Okay, let's quickly start the session. First question, it's a para based question. Quickly let's have a look at the paragraph and then we'll be jumping to the question. So not to worry, again I'm telling you not to worry about annual report. Definitely there is a lot of data. In our today's session also there will be a lot of fact and data related questions, right? Let's go one by one. Let's go gradually. Read the following para and answer the following question. Every year RBI publishes the annual report offering insights into the financial performance, policy decision and economic assessment. A key component of this report is RBI's balance sheet, which reflects the central bank's assets, liabilities, right? And the annual report also gives us the income and expenditure in the form of profit and loss account, right? One of the most closely tracked elements in this section is the surplus transferred to the government, which influences the union budget's financial calculation. The prescribed framework governs the principles behind this surplus. In financial year 2025, a historic increase in the CRB was also observed, reflecting the prudential strengthening. So it's discussing around the surplus transfer to the government. It's mentioning about CRB buffer, right? It's talking about balance sheet. So some related questions will definitely be asked from this particular area. Additionally, the funds earmarked for internal infrastructure and institutional capacity building are maintained. Together, these elements reflect the RBI's dual responsibility of safeguarding the monetary stability while supporting the fiscal requirement. The first question, very simple question. We have already discussed it in Finance Current Affairs series as well. In the context of the central banking operation, the fiscal monetary coordination often comes into play through mechanisms such as surplus transfer. How much surplus did RBI transfer to Government of India for financial year 2025, marking it as a record high. So this was a record high surplus. A very simple question. Let's start with simple questions. Then we will be jumping to the core questions as well, which are data oriented from the report. Everyone in the comment section, what should be the correct choice here? I want everyone to express your thoughts in the comment section. As per your opinion, what is the correct choice here? Chetan is saying D. Okay. What about others? Do you all feel D is the correct choice here? D is the correct choice. 2.69 lakh crore is the amount. It's a record high surplus that RBI has transferred to the government of India as dividend. Next question. The RBI submits annual report each year as part of statutory responsibility. This report provides a detailed review of macroeconomic trends and operational highlights. Under which section of the RBI Act is the annual report submitted to the central government? I hope you read the RBI annual report. It's written on the second page. Under which section we submit this report? Again, a simple question, a direct question. Everyone in the comment section. The correct choice here is option B, section 52 subsection 3. Okay, section 52 subsection 3. Option B. Next, which prescribed framework mentioned in the para that governs the principles behind the surplus? So in the paragraph, a framework is being mentioned, a prescribed framework is being mentioned that governs the principles behind the surplus. The central government maintains the risk stock to absorb the potential financial shocks without undermining their credibility. In India, the framework used to determine the risk provisioning and the surplus transfer is what framework? Option A, monetary capital framework. Option B, economic liquidity framework. Option C, liquidity adjustment framework. Option D, capital buffer framework. Option E, economic capital framework. So till now मेरे पास दो रिस्पॉन्स आए. सबसे पहला इकोनॉमिक कैपिटल फ्रेमवर्क ऑप्शन ई, और दूसरा रिस्पॉन्स आया कैपिटल बफर फ्रेमवर्क. किसी और का कोई ओपिनियन? एनी अदर ओपिनियन गाइस? सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है, कुछ टाइम पहले हमने डिस्कस भी किया था इन अ सेपरेट वीडियो. ऑप्शन ई हियर इज द करेक्ट चॉइस. ओके, economic capital framework, ECF. Okay, that's the correct choice. So it's the framework behind deciding factor regarding what to transfer, what to keep it as a reserve, right? Next, the balance sheet of a central bank reflects the outcome of its monetary operation, currency issuance and the reserve management. Changes in the size indicates shift in its monetary assets liability. By what percentage did RBI balance sheet grow in 2025 as compared to the previous year? So what is the year on year growth? What is the year on year growth in the balance sheet size? When I talk about the balance sheet size, I'm talking about the total of the balance sheet. What is the year on year growth? What is the year on year growth? No idea. सर वो अकाउंट्स वाले पेज तक तो अभी हम पहुंचे ही नहीं है. Is it so? So RBI अकाउंट्स के पहले लाइन में हाइलाइट्स के अंदर इट इज बीइंग मेंशन्ड अबाउट द ग्रोथ रेट, ओके, ऑफ द बैलेंस शीट. नो प्रॉब्लम एट ऑल. आई विल स्टिल एडवाइस कि धीरे धीरे पढ़ो, 10-10, 15-15 पेज पर करके पढ़ो, पर एक बार जो की हाईलाइट्स वाला वीडियो है, प्लीज वॉच दैट वीडियो, दैट विल डेफिनेटली हेल्प यू गेन द multiple key highlights regarding the report, very important for your examination perspective as well. Okay, the correct answer here is option E, 8.2%. okay, that's the year on year growth, 8.2%. okay, next, the central bank maintains contingency reserves to manage the financial stability risk arising from the external shocks, valuation changes and operational contingencies. The Reserve Bank of India, in alignment with the ECF framework, reviewed the risk provisioning for 2025. What is the revised contingency risk buffer maintained by RBI for financial year 2025? Again a simple question. जिसने ज़्यादा अच्छे से रिपोर्ट को नहीं भी पढ़ा होगा, you will also be able to answer. Why? Because you have done the finance current affairs very well, right? So that's why I tell you guys, report is nothing but a compilation of all the finance current affairs related to RBI and few more things. Definitely we'll be discussing that as well. We have already covered a lot of things in the key financial highlights, and we'll be discussing a lot of questions in this report, MCQ questions as well. The upper limit here is 7.5%, so they have increased the buffer limit, right, in the ECF framework. Again a recent event. Next, apart from the risk buffers, the central bank allocates internal resources for long-term institutional developments. One such internal reserve maintained by the RBI aimed at financing its own infrastructure and capacity building needs. Which fund maintained by the RBI is used for its internal capital expenditure, internal capital expenditure and institutional development? What is the name of that fund? The fund that is being used for internal capital expenditure and institutional development. Is it the Capital Reserve Fund, Monetary Stability Fund, Asset Development Fund, Fiscal Stability Buffer, or Internal Investment Reserve? What do you think, guys, should be the correct choice here? So the internal capital buffer is nothing but Asset Development Fund, okay, ADF, Asset Development Fund. Yes, Chetan, ADF is the correct choice here, okay. Option C here is correct. Next is, what was the total size of the RBI's balance sheet? If you have gone through the annual report, you must have seen the balance sheet. We have seen the year-on-year growth. What is the balance sheet size of RBI as of 31st March 2025 as per the annual report? Any idea? Anyone? Everyone in the comment section. So I have received two responses here. Option A, okay. Both Anuj and Chetan both are saying option A. What about others? Do you guys agree with both of them? Or any other opinion? The correct choice here is option A only. 76.25 lakh crore is the balance sheet size, right, as per the annual report. Next, which of the following are the sources of income of the Reserve Bank of India? It's not related directly to annual report. However, you must be knowing about the sources of income, how RBI earns. So this question basically came in some other examination. So most of the time I'm mixing questions from other examination also, so that you can get a taste what kind of questions are coming related to RBI and other examinations as well. First is buying and selling of foreign currencies. Second is buying and selling of government bonds. Third is pension fund management, and fourth is lending to private companies. What are the sources of income for RBI? Yes, Chetan, that's correct. Yes, Anuj. Option A here is the correct choice here. Buying and selling of foreign currency. Yes, it's a source of income for of RBI. Buying and selling of government bonds. Yes, right. They don't manage pension funds, they don't lend to the private companies. So here option A will be the correct choice. Option A, first and second only. Okay guys, so we have discussed about the ECF. They have increased the CRB contingent risk buffer to 7.5 as well. So the range is now 4.5. That's the lower range and the upper range is 7.5. Okay. Please do remember it. So accordingly, they have transferred a provision of 44,861 crore. Why? Because they have shifted the upper range, right? They have increased the upper range. That's true, Sachin. I was not even aware कि आज match है, surprisingly. Okay. Okay, guys. अच्छा, no provision was being made towards the asset development fund. Okay, ADF का कोई भी provision अभी तक यहाँ पे नहीं बनाया है, right? And I have pasted all the relevant screenshots. You can read it later on for your knowledge purpose as well. What is ADB, when it was created, right? So basically they try to transfer the provision. They transfer the provision here specifically till the date towards the investment in subsidiary. So let's suppose RBI is making any kind of investment in subsidiary. So they transfer the money in the asset development fund. Okay. To meet a certain kind of internal capital expenditure, they transfer the money to this particular fund. Revaluation account. I already told you that RBI is holding certain foreign assets. Okay. Foreign assets. Or maybe I should call them as assets only, like gold, okay, like foreign currencies. So whenever the balance of gold or foreign currencies that RBI is holding is increasing, let's suppose they are holding gold at 80,000 rupees. It went up to 1 lakh rupees. So this 20,000 rupees is nothing but revaluation reserve account, right? This 20,000 is nothing but the revaluation reserve account. What happens? Gold is a kind of asset. The asset balance increased from 80 to 1 lakh rupees, right? So there is a 20,000 addition in the asset side, I can say. However, you know the accounting equation, right? In the basics of accounting, I have told you asset is equal to liability plus capital. So asset is being increased by 20,000, 20k. What is the impact on the liability and capital side? So the impact here is increase in the reserves, increase in the revaluation reserve by 20k. Right, so we transfer this increase in the revaluation reserve. Why? Because we haven't realized it yet. That's why we transfer it into revaluation reserve account. That's what revaluation reserve is all about. So if you see this particular account in balance sheet, it's nothing but the gain from the assets that RBI is holding. Right. Next question. Banking sector performance is crucial indicator of financial stability. Improvement in the asset quality reflects the effective supervision, prudent lending, and economic recovery. One key metric used to assess this is the gross non-performing asset GNPA ratio. What was the GNPA ratio of scheduled commercial banks SCBs as of March 2025? What was the GNPA ratio of scheduled commercial banks as of March 2025? So we'll be remembering, we need to remember the closing year's figure. So 1st April 2024 to 31st March 2025. So this was the closing date of the financial year. We need to remember the broad numbers from the annual report. Okay. We need to remember some of the numbers from the annual report, and there are a lot of numbers I'll be telling you in these MCQ series as well, like what to remember, what not to remember. The correct choice here is option B, 2.8%. okay, 2.8% is the correct choice here. Next, foreign exchange reserves are a key component of country's macroeconomic stability. Adequate reserves help cushion against the external shocks, support the currency, and maintain the investor confidence. What was the level of India's forex reserves at the end of March 2025? What was the level of India's forex reserves on March 2025? सर ये फॉर द ईयर क्यों नहीं पूछा, मार्च का क्यों पूछा? देखो ये रिजर्व्स हैं, these are reserves, right? They are not computed for a period of time, they are computed for a point of time, right? What do you mean by point of time? Suppose I ask you the question, how much money you are having in your pocket? So let's suppose you told me 2000 rupees. Now after few days again, if I ask you the same question, your answer might change, right? So definitely on every day the balance will be different, so that's why we compute it only as of at the end of the month, right? The correct choice here is option A, $668.3 billion. Yes Chetan, that's correct, है ना? Balance sheet is prepared as at, so balance sheet is nothing but a point of time statement. However, profit and loss account is a period of time statement. When I say that I have earned a profit of 1 crore, that means पूरे साल में कितना प्रॉफिट कमाया है ना, पूरे साल में 1 करोड़ रुपए कमाया है. However, अगर आपने मुझसे पूछ लिया what is your reserves, so that I need to tell the balance of the reserves as on a closing date, right? So that's the logic behind this thing. Good evening Mukund, good evening. You are late today. Yes, this session was scheduled for today. No problem at all. We have done just 8 to 9 MCQs as of now. Okay. Still 40 are pending. 35 to 40 we'll be discussing. Okay. So no worries. With the rapid digitalization of payment system, India has emerged as a global leader in real-time payments. The UPI platform in particular has transformed the domestic payment landscape and continues to grow in international recognition. What was the UPI share of global real-time payment volume in 2024 as per the report? No problem at all. So today is the top 100 MCQs ka part 1. Tomorrow is the PYQ session of 2022. Okay. So on every Wednesday we have PYQ session. The correct choice here is 48.5%, option D. So UPI has accounted for 48.5% of the global real-time volume. Okay. Next question. Despite global uncertainties, India's macroeconomic fundamentals remain robust. The real GDP growth serves as a barometer for national economic performance and global competitiveness. What was the India's real GDP growth rate in the financial year 2025 as per the annual report of the RBI? Everyone in the comment section. The correct choice here is 6.5%. Okay, 6.5%. This is the real GDP growth rate for the financial year 2025. Okay, making it the fastest growing major economy as of now. Next again is a para based question. So first we'll be reading this para quickly and then we'll be moving to the question. GVA serves as a critical measure in understanding the real contribution of the different sectors to the overall economy. It is widely used in assessing the performance, offering a sector-wise breakdown that helps the policymaker identify growth drivers and bottlenecks. So GVA forms the backbone of national income accounting and is essential in framing the monetary and fiscal policies in India. Over the year, it has gained prominence alongside the GDP in official reporting due to its sectoral specificity and clarity in the economic evaluation. Tracking the changes in GVA over the time reveals the structural trends such as shift in the sectoral dominance, or vulnerability to external shocks. It is particularly valuable in analyzing the health of core sectors. The annual report of the Reserve Bank of India regularly highlights the GVA performance to provide insight into the economy's growth trajectory and the effectiveness of various policy intervention. अभी मैं जितना मजे ले रहे पढ़ रहा हूँ, आपको एग्जाम में ऐसे नहीं पढ़ना है, आपको थोड़ी स्पीड फास्ट रखनी है ना, राइट. एंड माय पर्सनल एडवाइस इज कि एग्जाम के अंदर एक बार के लिए अगर आप क्वेश्चंस देखोगे रादर देन पूरा पैराग्राफ पढ़ने की जगह, तो कितनी बार क्वेश्चंस डायरेक्ट भी होते हैं. समटाइम्स द क्वेश्चंस आर टू डायरेक्ट, राइट, irrespective of the paragraph, and that's the scenario most of the times, right. You can have a look at the previous year questions as well. वहां पे आप देखोगे कि questions direct भी थे. Okay, so I will suggest जो direct है उनको direct कर लो. The first question, gross value added GVA is one of the key macroeconomic indicator used to assess the performance of different sector within an economy. It helps in understanding the actual contribution of various sector without accounting for the indirect taxes or subsidies. Which of the following best define the GVA? Which of the following best defines the GVA, gross value added? Quickly read the options and do let me know in the comment section what is the correct choice as per your opinion. Yes, that's correct. Option E, value of output minus the value of intermediate consumption. That's why we call it as gross value added. It's completely different from gross domestic product. This is gross value added. So when we compute value added, that means we are only checking the value addition, right? So that's why the value of output minus the value of intermediate consumption, that gives us the value added. We don't consider the accumulation part, we only considering the value addition part here, right? So option E will be the correct choice here. Next question. Despite of the global headwinds, the Indian economy exhibited resilience. What was the percentage? What percentage did India's gross value added grow in financial year 24-25? What percentage did India's gross value added grow by financial year 2025? Grow in financial year 2025. So you need to remember the broad numbers from the annual report. There are a lot of numbers. I'll suggest you to at least read the important things from the annual report. These videos, any video on YouTube channel will not be a substitute of the annual report. Why? I'll tell you. Because when you read the report, you frame a lot of things in your mind, like how they express what is the ideology of RBI, right? You gain a confidence for attempting the descriptive questions as well, because there are a lot of lines in the annual report that will help you gain confidence for the descriptive paper as well. So I will advise you to please read it at least 10 pages a day. 10 pages a day is not at all a big deal. You can even read 5 to 8 pages if you want, right? But do read it. I know watching videos are more interesting instead of reading a book, right? But sometimes we need to do the boring stuff as well. राइट चेतन, उससे आप सीख जाओगे कि आंसर्स को कनेक्ट कैसे करना है. आप अपने इंट्रो को, बॉडी को, कंक्लूजन को कनेक्ट कैसे करोगे. विल बी हैविंग अ लॉट ऑफ स्टफ रिलेटेड टू द finance current affairs as well in that report, so that's helpful. Okay, the correct answer here is option A, 6.4%. okay, so the GVA is 6.4% of the financial year 2025. okay, different sector contribute variably to the economy's GVA. Growth trend in these sectors signal areas of resilience and drag in the economy. Which sector registered the highest GVA growth in financial year 2025? Which sector registered the highest GVA growth in the financial year 2025? I always tell you the number and the story behind the number, the driving reason of that number you should know. देखो दोनों चीजें याद होनी चाहिए, एक तो नंबर बढ़ा या गिरा, उससे ट्रेंड पता चलता है, कितना बढ़ा कितना गिरा, और उसके पीछे का ड्राइविंग रीजन क्या है, मेजरली उस नंबर को कौन ड्राइव कर रहा है, राइट? द करेक्ट चॉइस हियर इज ऑप्शन डी, सर्विसेज. ओके, so service sector has registered the highest GVA growth in financial year 2025. Okay, next, the agriculture sector continues to support the rural employment and food security. Its performance is key to inflation management and rural demand. What was the GVA growth for the agriculture and allied sector in financial year 2025? तो यहां पे आपसे एग्रीकल्चर एंड अलाइड सेक्टर का जीवीए पूछ लिया है. The correct choice is option B, 4.6%. Okay, 4.6% is the correct GVA for the agriculture and allied sector. Okay, guys. Next question. GVA trends reveals a shift in the sectoral performance and productivity while services continue to expand. One particular industrial segment dragged the overall GVA. So there was one particular industrial segment that dragged the overall GVA down. What was the main reason for the sharp decline in industry GVA during financial year 2025? So what was the driving reason? Was it mining slowdown, electricity output contraction, construction sector slump, manufacturing sector, or infrastructure bottlenecks? Okay, so I'm getting three opinions here. दो बोल रहे हैं माइनिंग, एक बोल रहे हैं मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. बाकी लोग क्या बोल रहे हो यार? बाकी लोग कुछ बोल ही नहीं रहे हो. देखो, these live sessions are for your practice, guys. The more you participate, the more you will be getting the benefits out of it, right? So I was not able to take the annual report video live due to some reason. So definitely you need to participate in the MCQ session. I personally feel that MCQ sessions are more important than any other sessions, right? Because in the examination आपको MCQ करना है, वहाँ पे आपको किसी चीज़ की रीडिंग नहीं करनी है. And this is the thing जहाँ पे मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स गलती करते हैं. वो वीडियोस ही वीडियोस देखते हैं, पीडीएफ ही पीडीएफ पढ़ते हैं. They forget that in the examination they need to solve the MCQs, they need to write the questions, they need to write the descriptive answers, right? So MCQ sessions are very, very important here. The correct choice here is option D, manufacturing sector deceleration. Okay, manufacturing sector deceleration. So if we can see a broad trend here, we can see here that in 2024 the manufacturing sector was 12.3% and it went down sharply to 4.3%, right? Zabardast decline. So can I say that this particular segment is driving the entire GVA down, right? So we can conclude that this is the largest decline, I can say, in the GVA in manufacturing sector. So from the industry side, manufacturing activities showed a steep decline. Okay, so जब भी ऐसा बड़ा नंबर मूव करे ना एकदम से, वहां पे रेड फ्लैग होना चाहिए आपको, वहां पे रेड फ्लैग हो जाना चाहिए. इसी को बोलते हैं रिपोर्ट पढ़ना. देखो, बाकी तो नंबर याद कर लिए, सब हो गया. एग्जाम में आने के क्या ज्यादा चांसेस है? ऐसे नंबर्स जो बहुत ज्यादा मूव हुए हैं, right? Rather than reading each and every number. अब एक बात बताओ, रिपोर्ट में इतने नंबर है, तुमको क्या सारे याद हो जाएंगे? अरे तुमको क्या, मुझको भी याद नहीं होंगे लेके बैठेंगे तो, राइट? सिर्फ एक ही रिपोर्ट थोड़ी पढ़नी है, बहुत सारी रिपोर्ट्स पढ़नी है. We do have a lot of things to study, right? And it's not practically possible to remember each and every number, that I totally understand, right? So please focus on these major changes. Look at the industry data. 11 से 4.3 आ गया. Why? Because of manufacturing sector decline, right? If I talk about services, there is a decline. However, the largest number is of services only. Okay. Next question. Geopolitical tensions and tariff uncertainties are increasingly shaping the global trade outlook. RBI has incorporated adjusted assumptions to reflect the current realities. What is the projected contraction in global merchandise trade volume in 2025 under the adjusted scenario? What is the projected contraction in global merchandise trade volume in 2025 under the adjusted scenario? Here the correct choice will be option E, 0.2%. Okay, 0.2%. ठीक है. Next is again a para based question. So it's a related question from your annual report. What happens is I have taken data points from the annual report as well, plus other questions as well, which I personally feel can be important for your examination. Okay, so you guys might be feeling कि सर कुछ चीजें annual report में नहीं है यार, कुछ चीजें एग्जाम में आ जाती है और सिलेबस में भी नहीं होती है, राइट? सो वी नीड टू ऑलवेज इनकॉर्पोरेट अ सरप्राइज एलिमेंट. वो आपके कोर्स में भी हो सकता है, एक दो क्वेश्चन आपके कोर्स से बाहर भी हो सकता है. ओके. The environment and sustainability rankings are playing an increasingly vital role in the shaping global investor sentiments and policy collaboration. As ESG consideration become central to investment decision, a country standing in global climate indices serves as a benchmark of its commitment to sustainable development. These rankings not only reflect the progress in the renewable energy adoption, carbon emission control, climate resilience, but also influence the access to the green capital global partnership. India has emerged as a key player in this space, consistently improving its position in the international climate performance assessment through various government-led initiatives focused on clean energy, electric mobility, green infrastructure. सब green बात हो रही है, थीम समझ में आ रहा होगा. The responsible resource usage. India has demonstrated a growing alignment with the global sustainability goals, such as advancements not only improve the environmental outcomes but also enhances the India's credibility and attractiveness as long-term investment destination. ठीक है, तो ये पूरा पैरा ना ग्रीन से भरा हुआ है. सो अब क्या क्या टॉपिक्स आपके माइंड में आने चाहिए आप लोगों को पता है. वी हैव डिस्कस्ड इट मेनी अ टाइम्स related to all the green finance topics. Okay, the first question is, companies and investors globally are increasing their focus on the non-financial factors to evaluate the corporate sustainability and ethical impact. ESG is one such widely used framework in reporting an investment decision. What does ESG stand for in the corporate sustainability reporting? बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन और बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. जितना ही ये सिंपल है उतना ही ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. इसकी इंपॉर्टेंस आप देखोगे आने वाले टाइम में. अगर आरबीआई से पहले कोई भी एग्जाम आया रिलेटेड टू फाइनेंस, उनमें आप देखोगे ग्रीन फाइनेंस, ईएसजी, बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स पूछे जाएंगे. The correct choice here is option D, Environmental social governance. Okay, environmental social governance, that's what ESG stands for. Okay. Next is the sustainability ranking are increasingly influencing investors' confidence and global partnership. India's performance in climate indices showcases its environmental progress. What was India's rank in the Climate Change Performance Index 2025? This is a part of your annual report of RBI. What was the India's rank in the Climate Change Performance Index 2025? So दो ओपिनियन आए अभी तक, दोनों बोल रहे हैं टॉप 10. सबको सही लगता है? India is among top 10. If I talk about the Climate Change Performance Index 2025, लॉक कर दिया जाए. The correct answer will be among the top 10. Okay, so as per the annual report of RBI, top 10 will be the correct answer. ठीक है. So climate change performance index के अंदर इंडिया अभी top 10 के अंदर बना हुआ है. Next, electronic mobility is a key area under the India's climate strategy. Adoption targets under the National Scheme Guide, policy decision and investor interest. What is the electric vehicle adoption target under the e-drive scheme for 2030 as per the RBI's annual report? What is the EV adoption target under the e-drive scheme for 2030? Not a finance related question, but yes, I have tried to cover it from all the areas of the annual report, whether it's finance, whether it's CSI or any other area. Correct choice is 30%. Okay, 30%. Very good. Rishabh, Chetan, Mukund, very good. 30% is the correct choice. Okay. Next, again a very simple question. What is the full form of BRSR as mandated for prescribed listed companies in India? What is the full form of BRSR? Again, it's related to ESG only. Okay guys, so the correct choice here is option C. Okay, option C is the correct choice here. Business responsibility and sustainability reporting. Okay, and remember, they don't have any choice but to confuse in the options, right? In the option choices. So do remember the full form of ESG and BRSR. And read about green finance. Read about green bonds. Be prepared to face any kind of descriptive question as well from these topics, and I will also bring some descriptive sections, descriptive answer writing practice sessions for you guys. Okay. अरे ये सही है. फिर बाद में क्या होगा, देखो मुकुंद, तुम लोग आईपीएल देखोगे और लोग तब पढ़ाई कर रहे होंगे ना. तो बढ़िया है, तुम लोग अभी पढ़ाई कर रहे हो. आरबीआई में जाने के बाद आईपीएल देखने का मजा कुछ और होता है. सही है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Consider the following statement. So this is again a question which came recently in an examination. The Reserve Bank of India mandates all the listed companies in India to submit a BRSR. This is the first statement. Second statement is, in India, a company submitting a BRSR makes disclosure in the report that are largely non-financial in nature. Okay. So if you don't know about BRSR, if you don't know about ESG, you can definitely watch a video. If you will type SEBI goes green on YouTube session, definitely you'll be getting that video. I have covered both the concepts in that particular video. अच्छा, RBI की वेब सीरीज भी आई है, सही है, मुझे भी देखनी पड़ेगी ये तो. I was not aware about this thing. The correct choice here is only option 2. RBI is not at all mandating the BRSR on companies. Okay. Acha, which organization is mandatory, is forming the rules and regulation related to BRSR in India? Yes, SEBI. SEBI is doing that, right? Perfect. So it's SEBI, not RBI. That's why first statement is not correct. And this particular question again came in UPSC examination. I'm again and again telling you guys like topics that are in that are there in news and that are creating a real impact in the world, like AI, blockchain, green finance, right? BRSR, ESG. They are very, very important. Whether you are preparing for RBI, whether you are preparing for SEBI, or whether you are preparing for any kind of finance related exam, you will surely get a question in your examination. There are high chances. Okay, I won't say 100%. मैं थोड़ी पेपर बना रहा हूँ, मुझे नहीं पता क्या आने वाला है, right? But there are high chances that you can get a question from these 4 areas in the examination. And I would suggest you to please be prepared from the descriptive angle as well, क्योंकि कितनी बार हमको चीजें आती है but we are not able to express that thing, right? In the descriptive we cannot type those things because पूरे साल हमने सिर्फ पढ़ाई करी है, सिर्फ रीडिंग करी है, और उस दिन हमको लिखना है, वहां पे टाइप करना है. ओके, तो आई पर्सनली एडवाइज यू कि उसकी प्रैक्टिस करो. एटलीस्ट वीक में 2 से 3 बार एक क्वेश्चन लिखने की प्रैक्टिस किया करो, 1-2 क्वेश्चंस, जब आपको टाइम मिले. नहीं टाइम मिले तो क्या करो, यहां लिखो BRSR फटाफट से एक पेपर पे, और उस पे सारे उसके रिलेटेड की पॉइंट्स लिखना चालू कर दो. अगर आपने की पॉइंट्स लिख लिए, इफ यू आर एबल टू राइट ऑल द की पॉइंटर्स, देन देयर आर हाई चांसेस दैट यू कैन इलैबोरेट इट एज वेल. ओके, एटलीस्ट अगर कुछ नहीं आया तो भी आप की पॉइंटर्स भी लिख के आओगे तो भी आपको वहां पे देख के समझ में आएगा कि यार कुछ आता है इसको, राइट? सो अगर टाइम नहीं भी मिल रहा है तो आई हाईली सजेस्ट यू कि की पॉइंटर्स लिखो. इलैबोरेट करना बहुत बड़ी बात नहीं है, की पॉइंटर्स याद आना बहुत बड़ी बात है. ओके, next, the G20 presidency rotates among the member countries, enabling the diverse economies to shape the global agenda. Which country took over the G20 presidency from India this time? बड़े सारे ओपिनियन आ रहे हैं इस वाले पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन पे, किसको लॉक किया जाए? Here the correct choice is option A, Brazil. Okay, Brazil is the correct choice, option A. India's export performance remained tepid in financial year 2025, reflecting the subdued global demand and commodity prices effect. What was the percentage? What percentage did the merchandise export grew in financial year 2025? So they are talking about the merchandise exports here. What was the percentage growth rate in the merchandise export? What was the percentage growth in the merchandise export? No idea. The correct choice here is option A, 0.1%. Okay, 0.1% is the correct choice. Option A. Next, India is promoting the use of INR in the cross-border trade to reduce the dollar dependence and enhance financial sovereignty. With which countries has India signed a MOU for local currency settlement to promote the INR internationalization? The first option is Maldives and Mauritius. Option B, Maldives and Nepal. Option C, Mauritius and UAE. Option D, Singapore and Mauritius. And option E, Maldives and Malaysia. रिपोर्ट क्या फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स किया होगा तो भी क्लियर होगा, है ना? रिपोर्ट क्या होता है यार? कंपाइलेशन ही तो होता है जो भी आरबीआई में साल भर हुआ, जितने भी फाइनेंशियल इवेंट्स हुए, नॉन फाइनेंशियल इवेंट्स हुए, उसका कंपाइलेशन ही तो होता है रिपोर्ट। ऐसा कुछ फॉरेन एलिमेंट थोड़ी होता है कि कुछ नया तुमको डाल के दे देंगे रिपोर्ट, पूरे जो साल में हुआ वो लिख के दे देंगे रिपोर्ट में। कुछ 20-30% तुमको नई चीजें मिलेगी रिपोर्ट में, बाकी 60 to 70% चीजें वही की वही होनी है जो तुमने पढ़ी हुई है, राइट? Thank you so much, Jiba. The correct choice here is Maldives and Mauritius, option A. Okay, option A is the correct choice here. फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर सीरीज के अंदर भी किया है हमने इसको, है ना? नेक्स्ट, एग्रीकल्चरल क्रेडिट पॉलिसीज रिमेन अ क्रूशियल सपोर्ट फॉर रूरल लाइवलीहुड. The interest subvention scheme are regularly revised to support the small farmers. What was the enhanced credit limit under the modified interest subvention scheme for किसान credit card? Again, finance current affairs के अंदर भी complete किया था, and it's a part of your annual report as well. The correct choice here is option C, 5 lakh. So 3 लाख से 5 लाख हो चुकी थी, राइट? केसीसी लोन लिमिट. तो यार शायद फिर ऑप्शंस में यहाँ कुछ गड़बड़ हो गई होगी. ओके, सो ये वाला क्वेश्चन रिव्यू के लिए डाल देता हूं, ठीक है? ये वाला क्वेश्चन मैं रिव्यू के लिए डाल देता हूं. मे बी यहाँ पे ऑप्शंस में गड़बड़ हो गई है, ठीक है? यहाँ 3 लाख होना चाहिए पर ऑप्शन के अंदर 5 लाख पंच हो गया है. ओके, तो ये वाला क्वेश्चन रिव्यू के लिए डाल देता हूँ. पीडीएफ अपलोड करते हुए मैं इसको करेक्ट करवा दूंगा, ठीक है? नेक्स्ट, द ट्रेड इम्बैलेंस are key contributors to the current account dynamics and external vulnerabilities. What was the India's merchandise trade deficit in financial year 2025? वो 3 लाख ही होनी चाहिए थी, है ना, वो 3 लाख ही होनी चाहिए थी। ऑप्शन गलत चला गया इसमें। The correct choice here is 282.8 billion. Okay, 282.8 billion. India's mercantile trade deficit. Okay, 282.8 billion. Yes, Chetan, E is the correct choice here. India's trade deficit in financial year 2025 was significantly influenced by certain groups. A sharp rise in the export of certain goods widened the overall trade gap. Among these, one category stood out as the major contributor of the deficit. Which one of the following accounted for 43.3% of India's total trade deficit for financial year 24-25? हाँ यार, ये पीडीएफ बहुत अच्छे से पढ़ लेना, ठीक है। एंड आई एम अगेन रिपीटिंग गाइस, दिस इज नॉट एट ऑल अ सब्सटीट्यूट ऑफ द एनुअल रिपोर्ट और एनी वीडियो ऑन द एंटायर यूट्यूब और अ बंच ऑफ वीडियोस। दे वॉन्ट बी अ सब्सटीट्यूट फॉर द एनुअल रिपोर्ट। जब तक नोटिफिकेशन नहीं आता है, आपके पास काफ़ी टाइम है पढ़ने के लिए, राइट। जब भी आएगा आ जाएगा, तब तक आप एनुअल रिपोर्ट के एटलीस्ट 10 to 15 पेजेस पढ़ना चालू करो। दैट विल डेफिनेटली हेल्प यू। आपका नॉलेज एकदम नेक्स्ट लेवल पे लेके चली जाएगी वो चीज़। सोचो, पूरे फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स एक साल की आप एक साथ एक रिपोर्ट में आपको मिल रहे हैं, उससे बढ़िया क्या हो सकता है। उसके साथ में आप वीडियोस देख सकते हो, ये वाले पीडीएफ पढ़ सकते हो, वो सब सब्सटीट्यूट में है ना, सॉरी वो सब कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री है, साथ में पढ़ा जा सकता है, सब्सटीट्यूशन नहीं है। द करेक्ट आंसर हियर इज ऑप्शन डी, ऑयल। ठीक है, oil was accounting for 43.3% of India's total trade deficit for financial year 24-25. ठीक है, next point. Post pandemic fiscal expansion has left many economies with elevated debt ratios. RBI highlighted the long term debt sustainability risk. According to the report, the global public debt GDP ratio is projected to approach what level by 2030? Global public debt GDP ratio is projected to approach by what level by 2030? सिंपल सा क्वेश्चन है, जिसने एक बार भी पढ़ा होगा रिपोर्ट को ढंग से, आप आंसर कर पाओगे। करेक्ट चॉइस हियर इज ऑप्शन डी, 100%. So Rishabh, Chetan, Mukund, all are correct here. ठीक है, 100%. Next, asset monetization helps unlock the capital value from government infrastructure, aiding fiscal and growth targets. How much is the second asset monetization plan 25-30 expected to mobilize? How much is the second asset monetization plan 23-30, 2025, 2030 is expected to mobilize? ये थोड़ा सा डीप विद इन द रिपोर्ट हो गया है, ठीक है। ऑन द फेस ऑफ रिपोर्ट नहीं लिखा हुआ था ये। ऑन द फेस ऑफ रिपोर्ट मतलब जो मेजर पॉइंटर्स आते हैं ना आपके, वहां पे नहीं लिखा हुआ था। The correct choice here is 10 lakh crore. Okay, 10 lakh crore is the correct choice here. ठीक है, इस चीज को पढ़ना एक बार, वीडियो और रिपोर्ट दोनों से। नेक्स्ट, टू एनहांस द एफिशिएंसी इन क्रॉस बॉर्डर रिटेल पेमेंट, बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन। इंडिया हैज बीन पार्टिसिपेटिंग इन द इंटरनेशनल कोलैबोरेशन फोकस्ड ऑन इंस्टेंट फंड ट्रांसफर मैकेनिज्म. वन सच इनिशिएटिव इज डिजाइन्ड टू लिंक द मल्टीपल national fast payment system in real time. Which multilateral initiative did the RBI join to enable the instant cross-border retail payments across the एशियन कंट्रीज एंड इंडिया. बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन. दिस वी हैव ऑल्सो कवर्ड इट इन फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर सीरीज, राइट. सो इफ आई सम अप, आपके जो फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स होते हैं दे आर वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर एग्जामिनेशन, राइट. वो आपको हर जगह काम आएंगे, आपकी रिपोर्ट्स में, आपके डिस्क्रिप्टिव में. जब आप किसी डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन के अंदर किसी फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स का रेफरेंस देते हो, योर आंसर बिकम्स नेक्स्ट लेवल. ओके, अदरवाइज मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स के आंसर थोड़े मोनोटोनस होते हैं, राइट. स्टैटिक होते, डायनामिक प्लस स्टैटिक नहीं होते. द करेक्ट आंसर हियर इज प्रोजेक्ट नेक्सस, ऑप्शन सी. ठीक है, ऑप्शन सी, यस, ऑल आर करेक्ट हियर. Next is a para-based question, so I'm quickly reading the paragraph. Headline inflation in terms of consumer price index trended down during the 24-25, though the path of disinflation was interrupted by the food price shocks. Keeping in view the inflation growth dynamic, the MPC changed the monetary policy stance from withdrawal of accommodative to neutral in October 2024. That provided it flexibility to monitor the progress and outlook on the disinflation and growth and act accordingly with the evolving situation. With inflation expected to moderate further during 25-26, the MPC reduced the policy repo rate by 25 basis points to 6.25% in February 2025, after maintaining status quo on the policy repo rate since February 2023. During the year, system liquidity moved from surplus during July to November to deficit during December 2024 to February 2025. We all know that India was struggling, Indian banking system was struggling with a huge shortage of liquidity from December 2024 to February 2025 before turning into surplus by the end of March 2025. To ease the potential liquidity stress, the CRR of the bank reduced by 50 basis points to 4% of net demand and time liabilities in December 2024. ये पैराग्राफ आपका एनुअल रिपोर्ट से ही लिया हुआ है, राइट. Inflation management is central to the RBI's policy framework. The headline inflation reflects the overall price pressure and impact the interest rate decision. What was the average headline CPI inflation in India during 2025? Average headline CPI inflation in India during financial year 2025. Simple the question. .6% है ना, 4.6% is the correct choice. ठीक है, very good everyone, 4.6%. Next, inflation dynamic in 2025 were shaped by a combination of supply side factors, monetary policy stance and international commodity price movement. One specific component of the inflation registered a decline, contributing to the overall disinflationary pressure. Which component of inflation was deflationary in India during financial year 24-25? Important question. Important question. Which component of inflation was deflationary? देखना, समझना बात को. क्वेश्चन में क्या लिखा है? Inflation dynamics. One specific component of inflation registered a decline, contributing to the overall disinflationary. यहां पे लिखा हुआ है डिसइंफ्लेशनरी, यहां पे लिखा हुआ है डिफ्लेशनरी. ठीक है, वन टर्मिनोलॉजी इज डिसइंफ्लेशनरी, अनदर टर्मिनोलॉजी इज डिफ्लेशनरी. ठीक है, तो मेरे को पता था कमेंट सेक्शन में होने वाला है कि अरे फूड है भाई, अरे फ्यूल है भाई, ये भाई भाई वाला गेम होने वाला है. मेरे को पता था फूड और फ्यूल के अंदर. ठीक है, तो मैं सारे ऑप्शंस काट देता हूं, दो ही ऑप्शन रखता हूं, फूड इन्फ्लेशन एंड फ्यूल इन्फ्लेशन. तो फूड है सर, फ्यूल है सर, लड़ाइयाँ हो गई है कमेंट सेक्शन में. हो क्या रहा था समझना. समझना बात, ये होता है डिफ्लेशन। डिफ्लेशन, यहां पे एक्चुअल में प्राइसेस गिर रही होती है, तो प्राइसेस आर एक्चुअली फॉलिंग इन डिफ्लेशन। ये होता है हमारा इन्फ्लेशन। प्राइसेस एक्चुअली बढ़ रही होती है, तो ये तो हो गया डिफ्लेशन, ये हमारा इन्फ्लेशन, ये तो सबको पता ही है। एक और टर्मिनोलॉजी, डिसइन्फ्लेशन। स्लो डाउन इन द रेट ऑफ ग्रोथ ऑफ इन्फ्लेशन इज नथिंग बट डिसइन्फ्लेशन। पहले इन्फ्लेशन 3% से चल रहा था, फिर 2% से चलने लग गया, मतलब वी आर मूविंग बैकवर्ड्स। दिस इज डिसइन्फ्लेशन। बहुत बार समझाया है मैंने क्लासेस के अंदर, राइट? इन पेड क्लासेस तो डेफिनेटली समझाया, ये यूट्यूब पे भी बहुत बार समझाया है। दिस इज डिसइन्फ्लेशन। डिसइन्फ्लेशन के अंदर हम जीरो से नीचे नहीं जा रहे होते, वी वॉन्ट गो बियॉन्ड जीरो, बिलो जीरो, बिकॉज दैट इज द डिफ्लेशन टेरिटरी। वी विल बी इन द पॉजिटिव डोमेन ओनली, वी विल बी ऑन द पॉजिटिव साइड ओनली, वी विल बी ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड ओनली, राइट? वी विल बी ऑन द राइट हैंड साइड ओनली. So disinflation is a slower growth of inflation. Earlier the inflation was 3%, now it is only 2%, now it is only 1%. That is, we are moving towards a disinflationary thing. So what's there in this particular question? Let's try to understand that first. Question ही समझ में नहीं आएगा तो आंसर कैसे समझ में आएगा, है ना? Say 1 2 3, यहां पे भी 1 2 3. समझना बात को, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड. द क्वेश्चन इज फ्रेम्ड वेरी वेरी ब्यूटिफुली, आई विल से. कितनी बार क्वेश्चन की फ्रेमिंग से भी आंसर पता चल जाता है. ठीक है, मैं तुमको फ्रेमिंग पढ़ के बताता हूं. लेट मी जस्ट क्विकली read the question once again, only last 2 lines of the question, then you will try to imagine how well the questions are framed. One specific component of inflation registered a decline contributing to the overall disinflation. Overall disinflation मतलब ये तो है overall, और यहां पे किसी स्पेसिफिक आइटम की बात हो रही है. ठीक है, वो बोल रहा है ओवरऑल डिसइंफ्लेशन हो गया, मतलब पहले इन्फ्लेशन की रेट कुछ और चल रही होगी और अभी क्या हो गया, डिसइंफ्लेशन हो गया. क्यों हो गया? क्योंकि एक पर्टिकुलर कंपोनेंट, एक पर्टिकुलर आइटम डिफ्लेशनरी था इंडिया के अंदर. डिफ्लेशनरी था मतलब वो नेगेटिव टेरिटरी के अंदर था. लेट सपोज वन आइटम, नाउ इन्फ्लेशन इज बीइंग कैलकुलेटेड. There are a lot of items in inflation, right? There is food, there is agriculture, there is healthcare, there is fuel, there is housing, what not, right? So because of the one negative item, the entire range of inflation got disinflated. This is the framing of the question. Beautiful framing. That's why I'm telling you this is very very important. अब ये फ्रेमिंग कहां से मिली भाई? मैंने खुद ने थोड़ी बनाई है, ये तो एनुअल रिपोर्ट की फ्रेमिंग है, राइट? सो अगर एनुअल रिपोर्ट को इफ यू स्टडी, बहुत इंटरेस्ट लेके, बड़ा मजा आने वाला है ना? फिर फाइनेंस लगेगा ही नहीं. फाइनेंस बिल्कुल एक गेम की तरह लगेगा. ठीक है, अब ये बोलना चाह रहे हैं कि ओवरऑल इन्फ्लेशन में डिसइन्फ्लेशन आ गया क्योंकि इन पर्टिकुलर आइटम देयर वाज अ डिफ्लेशन. एक आइटम के नेगेटिव होने की वजह से पूरा डिसइन्फ्लेशन में चला गया. व्हाट वाज द आइटम? द करेक्ट आंसर इज फ्यूल. Fuel inflation. So fuel inflation was in deflationary stage in India, and it made the entire rate of inflation come down. Okay, fuel is the correct choice here. ठीक है, fuel is the correct choice here. So food क्यों डाला सर? Food तो कंफ्यूज करने के लिए डाला था. ठीक है. Energy prices significantly impact the inflation, especially in the developing economies. Fuel prices tend to play a role in the deflationary or inflationary condition. The fuel inflation was deflationary at 2.5%. Deflationary at 2.5% का क्या मतलब होता है? ये 2.5% से बढ़ नहीं रहा है, ये 2.5% से गिर रहा है. It's going down by 2.5%. Okay? Thank you so much everyone. अभी ऐसे ना पूरी रिपोर्ट को पढ़ के एक एक लाइन पे क्वेश्चन बनाने पड़ते हैं, इसलिए तो तुम लोगों को बोल रहा हूँ कि रिपोर्ट पढ़ो, मजा आएगा. सिर्फ 10 पेज पढ़ो दिन के, होगा क्या बताता हूँ. 10-20 पेज, 20-30 पेज अगर तुमने पढ़ लिया ना तो बर्नआउट होने लगेगा. You won't enjoy the process then. That's why I'm telling you to only read 5 to 10 pages a day. That's it. That's also fine. बाकी तो हम लोग YouTube पे कर ही रहे है ना. So यहाँ deflationary 2.5% मतलब negative 2.5%. What was the primary reason for this trend? Why there was a deflationary trend in fuel of negative 2.5%? What was the primary reason out of it? Options are in front of you. Do let me know in the comment section what should be the correct choice here. And I'm sorry guys, I need to extend the session a bit, otherwise I tried to conclude it in 1 hour because we'll be doing close to 50 questions, so it takes time with explanation, right? मैं फटाफट से क्वेश्चन रीड करके पढ़ाऊंगा, मजा नहीं आएगा. We need to do such kind of analysis as well about the question. This analysis will definitely build us in the long run to tackle tough questions as well and to understand these questions quickly. So sometimes the session can go above 1 hour as well, like today. अब देखो रिपोर्ट पढ़ना कितना बेनिफिशियल होता है. अभी मेरे को चेतन का एक कमेंट दिख रहा है, कैरोसिन. उन्होंने एक वर्ड को पकड़ लिया वहां पे, राइट? एक वर्ड को पकड़ लिया एंड दैट इज द करेक्ट चॉइस. रिडक्शन इन द एलपीजी एंड कैरोसिन प्राइसेस. कितनी बार रिपोर्ट में एक वर्ड पढ़ा हुआ आपको नंबर दिला सकता है इन द एग्जामिनेशन. अब ये क्वेश्चंस के अंदर ऑप्शन जो है ये वाले सारे कंफ्यूजिंग ऑप्शन है. ओके, सो कैरोसिन इज द करेक्ट चॉइस. या रिडक्शन इन द एलपीजी एंड kerosene prices dragged the fuel prices in deflationary mode. Okay, next, to enhance the transparency and improve the analytical use of the price indicator, the Reserve Bank of India has upgraded it the way it shares the economic data in a move aimed at improving the accessibility and information dissemination. CPI diffusion indices have been made publicly available through a dedicated digital platform. बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन, पहले ही आंसर आने लग गए, पूरा अभी तक पढ़ा नहीं है. Through which platform has the RBI started disseminating the CPI diffusion indices for broader public and analytical use? Yes, ये भी फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स क्लास का क्वेश्चन है ना. सो द कंक्लूजन क्या बनता है? देखो, दिन का फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर सेशन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, न्यूज़पेपर रीडिंग बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. यार क्या आएगा एक बात बताओ, आरबीआई की रिपोर्ट आ जाएगी, फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी रिपोर्ट आ जाएगी, ट्रेंड एनालिसिस रिपोर्ट विल आल्सो कम. क्या होगा इन सारी रिपोर्ट में? फाइनेंस करंट अफेयर्स ही तो होंगे. सो अगर आपका बेस स्ट्रांग है तो रिपोर्ट आपके लिए जस्ट एक कंपाइलेशन है और कुछ भी नहीं है, राइट? पहली बार रिपोर्ट पढ़ते सबको डर लगता है. जब मैंने मेरी आरबीआई रिपोर्ट पहली बार पढ़ी थी, मुझे भी थोड़ा सा टेंशन था कि अरे यार आरबीआई रिपोर्ट आने वाली है, पर होता क्या उसमें? यही सब तो होता है जो हम पढ़ते हैं. द करेक्ट चॉइस हियर इज ऑप्शन सी, CIMS portal, right? Centralized Information Management System. Option C is correct. So here we can see the policy repo rate. So this is chart from your annual report only. ठीक है, बहुत लंबे टाइम तक they have kept the repo rate constant and now they have started slashing it. Okay. And in the report, I got this particular note as well. I saw this particular note as well. The MPC noted that the risk from the volatile and elevated food prices remained high. यार food prices है ना, हमेशा इशू करते हैं, कभी भी देख लेना आप. अब देखो क्या होता है, फूड प्राइसेस कभी तो यूं जा रहे हैं, फ्यूल प्राइसेस कभी यूं जा रहे हैं, बेचारा इन्फ्लेशन इनके बीच में रह रहा है, राइट। इसीलिए तो हम हेडलाइन इन्फ्लेशन, कोर इन्फ्लेशन निकालते हैं। व्हाई? बिकॉज फूड प्राइसेस एंड फ्यूल प्राइसेस आर टू वॉलेटाइल, राइट। दे कैन मूव द एंटायर इन्फ्लेशन, दे कैन मूव द एवरेज, एंड वी हैव सीन अ क्वेश्चन एज वेल। एक फ्यूल इन्फ्लेशन के डिफ्लेशनरी में जाने से पूरा इन्फ्लेशन डिसइन्फ्लेशनरी हो गया, राइट। So, the elevated food prices remained high, which may adversely impact the inflation expectation and result in spillover to the core inflation as well. Therefore, the Monetary Policy Committee has decided to keep the repo rate unchanged by 4/2 majority, right? So, इतने लंबे टाइम के लिए रेपो रेट को कांस्टेंट किया गया, उसके बाद भी बहुत सोच समझ के कट करना चालू किया, और आपकी रिपोर्ट में रीजंस भी गिवन है, ब्यूटीफुली दे हैव समराइज्ड एवरीथिंग। नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, ड्यूरिंग Q4 of financial year 24-25 the RBI actively responded to evolving liquidity condition in the banking system, with tight liquidity conditions emerging due to multiple factors. The central bank deployed a mix of conventional and innovative instruments to ease the stress and ensure the smooth market functioning. What type of liquidity did RBI aim to inject in the banking system through measures such as term repo auctions, open market purchase auction operations, USD INR buy sell swap during Q4 of 24-25? Options are durable liquidity, call money liquidity, temporary liquidity, transient liquidity, structural liquidity, passive liquidity. What should be the correct choice here? देखो, सिर्फ एक चीज के ऊपर ओपिनियन नहीं बनाना। द करेक्ट आंसर इज ड्यूरेबल लिक्विडिटी, ठीक है। जो बाय एंड सेल स्वैप्स थे वो लॉन्ग टर्म इन नेचर थे, ओके। ड्यूरेबल लिक्विडिटी कैन बी एन इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक फ्रॉम द डिस्क्रिप्टिव एंगल। ठीक है, ड्यूरेबल नहीं हो सकता तो फिर तुमको एनुअल रिपोर्ट एक बार पढ़नी चाहिए सबको, ठीक है। एक बार एनुअल रिपोर्ट पढ़ो, ओके। देखो, लॉन्ग टर्म रेपो ऑक्शन भी तो होते हैं, मनी मार्केट परचेज हो रहे हैं, यूएसडी बाय सेल स्वैप हो गया, लॉन्ग टर्म भी तो हो रहे हैं, 3-3 साल के भी तो स्वैप एंटर हुए, तो वो सिर्फ मनी मार्केट इंस्ट्रूमेंट कैसे हो सकता है सिर्फ, राइट। लॉन्ग टर्म डेट मार्केट भी तो होता है ना। तो लॉन्ग टर्म डेट मार्केट भी एग्जिस्ट करता है यार, लॉन्ग टर्म नेचर के कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स भी होते हैं। 3 साल का स्वैप भी तो हुआ था यूएसडी आईएनआर का, देयर वाज अ स्वैप ऑफ 3 years एज वेल, राइट। इफ आई रिमेंबर अमाउंट, आई डोंट एग्जैक्टली रिमेंबर द अमाउंट ऑफ दैट स्वैप, बहुत बड़ा स्वैप था वो, राइट। तो फिर वो वाली चीजें मनी मार्केट में कैसे आ जाएंगी? तो आपका लॉन्ग टर्म डेट मार्केट भी होता है, ठीक है। Next, liquidity conditions in the Indian financial system are influenced by various factors including fiscal operation, capital movement, and public demand for cash. Financial year 24-25, the RBI has responded to evolving liquidity condition caused by several systemic pressure that impacted the overall money market dynamic. Which of the following were the major drivers of liquidity during financial year 24-25 observed by Reserve Bank of India? So the major drivers of liquidity, guys, was volatile capital flow, pickup in the currency in circulation and rise in the government of India cash balances. Okay. क्वेश्चन का टोन नहीं समझा. देखो क्वेश्चन का ये पूछ रहा है मेजर ड्राइवर ऑफ लिक्विडिटी क्या था. ठीक है, तो आप अगर आप इफ यू हैव अ लुक इन द एनुअल रिपोर्ट एज वेल, अ चार्ट हैज बीन गिवन. ओके, उस चार्ट में मेजर ड्राइवर्स बता रखे हैं ऑफ लिक्विडिटी की. लिक्विडिटी वेयर इट वाज फ्रॉम, वेयर द लिक्विडिटी वाज ड्रिवन, राइट, कहां से वो लिक्विडिटी आ रही थी. ओके, सो लिक्विडिटी के सोर्सेज में क्या गिवन था. कैपिटल फ्लोज हो गए आपके, सीआईसीज हो गए, करेंसी इन सर्कुलेशन एंड राइज इन द गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया कैश बैलेंस. ओके, सो आई हैव पेस्टेड दिस चार्ट एज वेल. लिक्विडिटी की ड्राइवर्स एंड मैनेजमेंट, तो आप देखोगे तो ये सारे पॉइंट्स यहाँ पे ड्रिवन है. मेजर लिक्विडिटी आपकी कहां से आ रही थी, देखो, है ना. तो ये वाला चार्ट जरूर पढ़ना, ये वाला चार्ट जरूर पढ़ना. नेक्स्ट, the import dynamics in financial year 2025 were influenced by higher domestic demand and elevated commodity prices. What was the growth in the India's merchandise imports during financial year 25? What was the growth in India's merchandise import during financial year 2025? ठीक है, बस अब कंक्लूड करते हैं वीडियो को बहुत ही जल्दी. थोड़े से क्वेश्चंस और हैं एंड देन विल बी कंक्लूडिंग द सेशन टुडे. कुछ 5-6 क्वेश्चंस में और लेने वाला हूं. द करेक्ट आंसर इज 6.2, राइट, है ना मुकुंद, राइट, 6.2. नेक्स्ट, the FDI reflects a long-term investor confidence and strategic capital inflows. How much FDI inflow was recorded in India during financial year 2025? How much FDI inflow was recorded in India during financial year 2025? Here the correct choice is 0.4 billion. Okay, 0.4 billion. Option B. Next, portfolio investments are more volatile than FDI and often react to macroeconomic expectation and global liquidity. What was the net FPI investment inflow in financial year 2025? Net FPI inflow in financial year 2025. The correct choice here is option C, $1.7 billion. Yes, Chetan, that's correct. Next, what was the average CPI inflation during, as reported by the RBI? I think we have covered this particular question, right? So I think this is repeated. This question is repeated, right? The correct answer is 4.6%. ये हमने पहले डिस्कस कर लिया था ये वाला क्वेश्चन, है ना. This particular question is repeated. Agla, the liquidity management by the Reserve Bank of India involves balancing the short-term and long-term tools. In financial year 2025, the RBI deployed specific investments instruments to absorb the transient liquidity surplus from the system. Which tool primarily was used by the RBI on a fine-tuning basis to absorb the excess liquidity during financial year 2025? Very good, Chetan. The correct answer is a variable repo rate, right? Reverse repo, VRRR. Next is to enhance the effectiveness of its liquidity absorption operation. The RBI recalibrated the maturity profile of its liquidity instruments in the second half of the financial year 2025. Which specific instrument was reintroduced by the RBI in half year second of the financial year 2025 to better manage the short-term liquidity condition? They're talking about short-term here. Yes guys, 14-day VRRR auction. Next, systemic liquidity during 2025 transitioned from surplus to deficit due to multiple macroeconomic and fiscal developments. These shifts had implications on the short-term interest rate and monetary transmission. Which of the following were identified as the key factors behind the liquidity tightening in financial year 2025? फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2025 में पोजीशन क्यों टाइट हो गई थी, क्या रीजंस थे उसके? बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन, बहुत ही सिंपल क्वेश्चन. And this was a situational event. It was a short-term event. जो दिसंबर, आई थिंक दिसंबर एंड जनवरी मंथ के अंदर सबसे ज्यादा न्यूज आई थी इसके बारे में. द करेक्ट आंसर हियर इज जीएसटी आउटफ्लोज, राइज इन द करेंसी इन सर्कुलेशन एंड स्लो डाउन इन द गवर्नमेंट एक्सपेंडिचर. राइट. अच्छा, एडवांस टैक्स की भी डेट्स आ गई थी आई थिंक, राइट. उन वजह से भी प्रॉब्लम्स आई थी अगर आपने दिसंबर की सीरीज देखी होगी तो. ठीक है, अगला पोर्टल बहुत ही इजी और बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. Which online portal made mandatory from May 1st, 2025 is used by the regulated entities to submit the application to the RBI? करेंसी सर्कुलेशन इंक्रीज होने से लिक्विडिटी टाइट कैसे होगी? सो ये वाला एक बार चेक करना एनुअल रिपोर्ट के अंदर, ये वाला क्वेश्चन एक बार चेक करना एनुअल रिपोर्ट के अंदर, देखना उसके अंदर पैराग्राफ में क्या लिखा है. ठीक है, इसी बहाने तुम लोग एनुअल रिपोर्ट पढ़ लोगे. यस यस गाइस, प्रवाह पोर्टल इज द करेक्ट चॉइस यार, ऑप्शन बी. ठीक है, प्रवाह पोर्टल. अगला क्वेश्चन, द पायलट ऑफ इंडियाज डिजिटल करेंसी इनिशिएटिव कंटिन्यू टू इवॉल्व पर्टिकुलरली इन द होलसेल सेगमेंट. They are talking about the wholesale segment. CBDC के दो segment होते हैं, retail and wholesale, right? This included broadening of the participant base for greater market acceptance and testing new use cases. In financial year 2025, the scope of e-rupee wholesale pilot was extended to include which additional market participant? Again, simple. Standalone, primary, dealer. राइट, ऑप्शन सी सही है. अच्छा, ड्यूरेबल लिक्विडिटी और ट्रांजिएंट लिक्विडिटी में क्या फर्क होता है? ठीक है, ड्यूरेबल लिक्विडिटी और ट्रांजिएंट लिक्विडिटी में क्या फर्क होता है? ये आप लोगों का होमवर्क है, आप लोग मुझे बताओगे. ठीक है, जो नॉर्मल कमेंट सेक्शन होता है उसके अंदर कमेंट करना. दिस इज लाइव कमेंट सेक्शन. First, read about durable liquidity, read about transient liquidity, and do let me know in the normal comment section कि इसके अंदर क्या difference होता है. Not here, ठीक है? Not in the live section. Do let me know in the normal comment section. After reading about durable liquidity and transient liquidity, and soon I'll be covering a descriptive question also related to this particular concept of durable and transient liquidity. Okay, both the terms are stated in your annual report as well. ओके गाइस, सो अगर वीडियो पसंद आया हो तो वीडियो को लाइक कर देना, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर देना. ठीक है, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग द वीडियो. मिलते हैं कल PYQ 2022 के साथ में. बाय बाय, टेक केयर. अब अगर कुछ मैच वैच बच गया हो तो आप लोग देख सकते हो. ठीक है, चलो बाय बाय, टेक केयर. थैंक यू सो मच एवरीवन. थैंक यू चेतन, थैंक यू मुकुंद. Good night. Bye bye.